KIRO, Seattle.
This is COVID-19 Seattle. I'm Dave Ross.
And I'm Aaron Granillo.
Sun's out, parks close.
We really are taking this step because we think it's important to continue the really hard work of flattening this curve.
Why Seattle's mayor says police will be patrolling the parks this weekend.
Amazon is building a lab to test employees for the coronavirus. Could every worker in America be tested before returning to work?
And how about some good news on this Good Friday? Miley Katie will join us.
Stay right here.
Spring sunshine has Governor Jay Inslee concerned.
The sun is out. The daffodils are beautiful. It's warming up. But I just want people to fundamentally understand that this virus is just as deadly and dangerous to the well-being of Washingtonians as it was on March 23rd when I announced the Stay Home, Stay Healthy initiative.
And now Seattle's mayor is taking her own action. Jenny Durkan says she doesn't want to see anybody congregating in parks or on beaches this weekend, and so she's shutting some of them down.
And Police Chief Carmen Bess says her officers will be out patrolling.
We know that we can't police our way out of a pandemic. It's going to take community coming together, following the orders that have been placed out there on behalf of public safety to make sure that we remain safe.
So they're focusing on some of the larger parks and beaches. Here are some that will be closed: Discovery Park, Gasworks, Cal Anderson, Green Lake, Alki Beach. The city will close in all 15 parks tonight, Friday night at 11 o'clock, and they will keep them closed until Monday morning at 4:30.
The question, of course, is how do you enforce that? And police officers will start by asking people to comply voluntarily, but they would have the authority to write citations if they see you in the parks. And I would assume that would be, even if somebody decides to be clever and keep themselves 6 feet apart, but are still in a group at the park?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that the police would tell them to leave, right? I mean, and if they don't, if they talk back, they might get a ticket. I think that's sort of the goal of this order from the mayor. Keep in mind, the city already shut down parking lots at 8 major parks a couple of weeks ago, and it has already banned the use of play areas too. But this is the first time that the city is taking this kind of drastic of a measure and actually closing parks because of the virus.
There will still be chances to go outside, though. There are more than 400 neighborhood parks in Seattle, which will remain open, but you must socially distance yourselves.
Amazon has begun assembling personnel and equipment to build a lab to test for the coronavirus. The company hopes to start testing small numbers of frontline employees soon. And David, sounds like based on your conversation with the University of Washington researchers that may be the standard nationwide.
Yes, I talked with Dr. Ali Mokdad, who is one of the UW researchers who came up with the model predicting the spread of COVID-19, which has now basically been setting national policy. And he says he is now on to a new project, and that is to create a model for the recovery.
I would expect to see more Americans wearing face masks from now on, like when you travel in China, you would see them. I don't think shaking hands will be very common from now on.
But here's the most important change. He says that you will probably have to be tested now before returning to work.
If we are to reopen, we really need tests in place everywhere in this country where they are needed. Mm-hmm. And it has to be as convenient to me and you in order to test ourselves before we go back to our work. And that test has to be a rapid test. Mm-hmm. I cannot be tested in 2-3 days to find out if I have COVID-19 or not. So testing is key here. Unless we are comfortable that all the tests we need are available where they need to be, we shouldn't consider going back to normal.
That seems to me, though, to be the easy part. The hard part is going to be isolating those who test positive. That's part of the point of the testing. And then quarantining anyone who happens to come in contact with them, whether they have symptoms or not. And that's going to be, I think, a tough sell for a lot of people. I've been noticing on Twitter, and it's probably just a few accounts, but they've been sent to me by listeners, people who are saying this is a play for giving us big government control. I mean, in other words, they see shades of Chinese authoritarianism here in letting the government say who gets to go to work and who doesn't.
Yeah, and I've seen some reports from China now. I mean, when you go out to a supermarket, for instance, you are required to wear a mask. It's not just urged for you to wear a mask. When you go to large gatherings, they are They are checking your temperature now every time you go to some sort of public event in China. I also saw a report out of the country, that police are now equipped with these helmets that have some sort of like infrared camera where they can read people's body temperatures in real time. So I don't know how, that seems a little scary to me. I don't know if that's going to fly here in our country, but that's what's happening there.
So just stopping you for a bad tail light, they can stop you for a high body temperature.
That's what it sounds like. It's a little, I don't know, it's a little scary. But, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, Dave, but I feel like it should almost be a requirement at this point that if you do go back on the job after this, at least check your temperature going in, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've gotten in the habit of checking my temperature when I wake up in the morning and right before I go to bed at night, and it doesn't take too long. But I don't think you're going to be able to necessarily trust people to self-report right away. And we may have experiments. We may actually be part of a grand national experiment, because I have a feeling that this is going to be left up to the states. I think that's what Donald Trump's tendency is, to leave things up to the states. Mm-hmm. And some of them are going to be more relaxed about it, and some of them, probably including ours, are going to be stricter. And we'll see the results. I mean, if it turns out that the states that aren't quite as anal about enforcing the rules don't have a wider infection, then I'm sure the rest of us will loosen up, and then vice versa if it doesn't work out so well.
Well, it is Friday. It is Good Friday. The sun is out, and unfortunately, we can't exactly go outside because all of the parks are closed, at least in Seattle. But we do have our own little blast of sunshine here with us. KIRO Radio's Miley Katie. Hey, Miley, how are you?
What a setup. Hi, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I know you're here to share some good news with us on this Friday.
I am. Let's make it a great Friday.
Yeah,
let's talk about some good news. So let's kick things off with a birthday story in honor of Dave's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Happy birthday, Dave. A little social distancing did not slow down the celebration for a World War II veteran in Seattle. On Wednesday, 103-year-old Gene Moy's friends and family sat him down in a lawn chair right outside his house, and as a caravan of 24 vehicles drove by, wishing him a happy birthday.
This is overwhelming. Hey, I feel like a king.
He even got a visit from a police cruiser as the caravan went past.
From the Seattle Police Department. We love you, brother.
KIRO 7 TV reports that Moy is the oldest living Chinese-American World War II vet, and he's set to receive the Congressional Gold Medal in Washington, D.C. as soon as the pandemic is over.
Oh, 103, you said?
Yeah, 103. Pretty amazing. A Seattle sports team is stepping in to help get some blood donations from the community. Anyone who gives blood at T-Mobile Park will be rewarded with free ballpark snacks and 2 tickets to a future Mariners game. The team and Bloodworks Northwest are going to set up donation stations in the park starting Monday, all a part of the coronavirus effort. The blood drive will be by appointment only and last for 3 weeks. Anyone who donates is also encouraged to come wearing their favorite Mariners gear and colors. If you'd like to participate, you can contact Bloodworks Northwest to set up an appointment.
This is great. I've had interviews with Bloodworks before, and they say their blood supply has been okay, but that doesn't mean it's going to be okay in like 2-3 weeks from now. So to try to build up that stockpile of blood is really important. And I do want to just give a shout-out to one of our commenters on mynorthwest.com, by the way. It's a little jab at the Mariners, but it's funny.
Go on.
This person said, this ballpark has already taken so many tears from me. Might as well take some blood as well.
Oh, that's good.
It's a little dig, but,
I like that.
Fine.
I think they should put that on a banner. Maybe not.
Right when you walk in,
yeah. I'm sure the players would really appreciate that.
I'm sure they would.
But go M's. And they really do. They do need the donations. They need up to 1,000 donations a week to keep their supply above water.
That works. Yeah,
we'll go with that. Do we have time for one more?
Okay.
Do it. So the pop star Pink donated $1 million to charity after she herself recovered from coronavirus. She and her 3-year-old son tested positive a couple weeks ago. Thankfully, they're both feeling better now. They're recovering, but she wanted to give back and help others who might be struggling. So $500,000 of that is going to the Los Angeles Mayor's Emergency Fund for the crisis. and the other half is going to Temple University Hospital in Philadelphia. And the reason for that is her mother actually worked there for 18 years.
Oh.
Isn't that sweet?
That is sweet.
Yeah.
It's always nice to hear when people are in a position of influence or power, that they use that influence for good. KIRO Radio's Miley Katie, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to COVID-19 Seattle. We'll be back on Monday with another 10 minutes of the day's top coronavirus stories in Washington state. In the meantime, you can subscribe, and if you're liking these updates, leave us a review.